Today we're heading to the far north of Finland, into Finnish Lapland, above the Arctic Circle. This is AANAAR, a restaurant focused on Arctic ingredients and inspired by Sami food traditions, with a menu built around local fish, game, and seasonal ingredients from the region. Hi, I'm Anya, and I explore restaurants around the world, from Michelin stars to unique local spots. When I lived in Kirkenes in northern Norway, there weren't many fine dining options nearby, so finding a place like this just about 2.5 hours away immediately caught my attention. I had seen photos online beforehand and the food looked beautifully plated. But honestly, because it's in such a remote location, I didn't really know what to expect overall. The whole village only has around 700 people, and the nearest city is Rovaniemi, which is about 4 hours away. So I was most curious about what fine dining would actually look like this far north in Finland. For us, getting to AANAAR meant crossing the border into Finland and continuing on to Inari. If you're traveling from further away, the easiest option is usually to fly to Ivalo Airport. Most flights go through Helsinki, but there are also a few international connections. From there, you continue north to Inari. Inari is closely connected to Sami culture and surrounded by forests, lakes, and Arctic landscapes, and the area is well known for outdoor activities and Northern Light tourism. AANAAR is located inside Wilderness Hotel Jutua, which is part of a small hotel group with several properties across Finnish Lapland. We didn't stay at this particular hotel, but at another Wilderness hotel nearby, to experience their glass-roof Northern Lights cabins. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see the Northern Lights during this stay because of heavy clouds, but waking up surrounded by forest and silence still felt really special. And it turned out to be a perfect way to celebrate my birthday. Inside AANAAR, the atmosphere was very Nordic. The dining room was open with dark walls, wooden floors, and simple tables without tablecloths. One detail I really liked was the staff uniforms. They were inspired by Sami design with colors and patterns that clearly referenced the region. It wasn't a traditional Sami kofte or gakti, which traditionally can only be worn by people of Sami heritage, but uniforms inspired by them. Along one side of the restaurant there were large windows looking toward the river, but since we were there in the evening, it was already dark, so we couldn't really see the view. The space is divided between the restaurant and a separate bar area. The menu at AANAAR follows the same Arctic idea as the restaurant itself. The food is seasonal, and at the moment they offer 3 versions of their tasting menu: a regular menu, a vegan menu, and a pescatarian menu. The regular 5-course tasting menu is currently priced at 98 euros. A wine pairing is available for 43 euros. And a non-alcoholic pairing costs 27 euros. We went for the regular 5-course tasting menu, of course with a wine pairing. Before the first course arrived, we were served fresh bread with herb butter. After that came a small pumpkin soup as an amuse-bouche, which was really flavorful and a nice start to the meal. The first course of the tasting menu was trout from Lake Inari, served salted and seasoned with blueberry, together with charred yellow beetroot, yogurt cream, and malt chips. The trout tasted very clean and fresh, and the blueberry added a subtle sweetness without taking over. The beetroot gave the dish depth, while the malt chips added texture. It was paired with a dry rosé that worked really well with the freshness of the dish. Next came a dish built entirely around carrots. There were pickled carrot chips, fermented carrots, carrot cilantro caviar, and carrot orange gel, finished with feta cream and roasted nuts. It sounds simple, but there was a lot going on. Sweetness, acidity, crunch, and just enough richness from the feta. This was paired with a reindeer, which kept everything light and fresh. Then came the reindeer, and this was the dish that really stood out. The reindeer was smoked with pine needles and served with caramelized onion, mushroom puree, a reindeer blood dumpling, wild mushrooms, lichen, and a lingonberry red wine sauce. The flavors were very intense, especially the smokiness. My husband, who is from northern Norway, immediately said that it reminded him of sitting in a sauna. In the north of Norway and Finland, saunas are very common, and the smell of that dish brought back that memory. The smokiness had that same sauna smell and feeling, but at the same time, it still tasted a lot like northern nature. The wine pairing was a structured red wine from Italy that worked very well with the strong flavors. Before dessert, we were served a cloudberry lollipop, which felt like a fun and very Nordic transition. The dessert and the final course of the tasting menu was a forest berry sorbet served with a pine bark biscuit, salty licorice rocks, and cream infused with pine bark. The flavors stayed in that same forest direction: berries, bitterness, resin, and a bit of salt. It was paired with a sweet Riesling, which balanced everything nicely. Beyond the food, the service also stood out. Everything was well organized, and the dishes and wine pairings were explained clearly. What surprised me the most was, after talking to some of the staff, they told us they didn't have much restaurant experience before working there. One of them had just been cycling through Finland, liked that area, decided to stay, and ended up working at the restaurant. And honestly, you would never guess that. I've been to many restaurants where the staff has gone through a lot of training, but then something still feels off with the service. Here, everything worked well, which I think says something about how the restaurant is run. After dinner, we went over to the bar for some cocktails, and it was the same experience there. One of the staff members who made our drinks told us she didn't have any cocktail experience before working there either. But the cocktails were very good, and she looked completely professional. Just like the food, the flavors of the cocktails reflected the region, with forest-inspired ingredients and aromas. So in the end, what made AANAAR stand out wasn't just the food itself, but how everything felt connected to the place. From the ingredients to the flavors, the wines, and even the cocktails, there was a clear sense of where you were. Coming there from northern Norway, I expected Arctic ingredients, but I didn't expect the experience to feel so focused and complete. Some dishes, especially the reindeer, really brought back memories connected to the north, which made the meal feel more personal than just another fine dining experience. And what impressed me just as much was the people. The service felt natural and professional, even though some of the staff came from completely different backgrounds. It showed that good hospitality isn't just about experience, but also about how a place is run and the atmosphere they create. If you're traveling to this part of Finland, AANAAR is definitely worth a visit. It's not about luxury in a flashy way, but about experiencing northern flavors in a way that feels honest, thoughtful, and very true to the region. And honestly, this is one of those places I'm really happy I discovered while living in the north. And with that, we reach the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like and subscribe. There's plenty more food and travel and other contents coming soon. See you in the next one.